have so much energy. You have so much passion for becoming, so much passion for people. There are different types of people. We are not going to be the same person. Like your style, somebody else.
Hi everybody, this is Amir, Syed. I'm really excited about our guest attendee today. I have Minesh Baxi here, speaker, coach, and author of Stop Hiring Losers. He is here today with me to kind of coach our entire staff so we can all just get along and talk better with one another and master communication. He is the administrator and my personal coach when it comes to the D.I.S.C test, which is a behavioral insight exam that I've used not only within the office, but also when hiring and recruiting, and also personally with my fiance, which her and I are going out of town in a few weeks to kind of go over our D.I.S.C test to make sure we can communicate with one another a lot better given our exam results. So Minesh, welcome.
Thank you very much, Amir. My pleasure. You got a great team of people, and I love one thing about you. You have so much energy. You have so much passion for becoming a better person. You're competitive, and the best part about it is you are a very quick learner. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. My D.I.S.C results were a high D, high I. Okay, so that reflects in kind of my personality, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I want to ask you some questions for our audience, Minesh, to be able to utilize the Behavioral Insight exam to empower their lives as well.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about people, right?
Correct. It's all about people.
So tell us a little bit about the D.I.S.C test.
Well, you and I know that we are different types of people. We are not going to be the same person. Like your style, somebody else's style are not going to be exactly the same, because when you are hiring people, you are building a team of people around you, what you're looking for are people who complement your weaknesses. And that's one of the best parts about the Behavioral Insights exam. It tells me the kind of individual the person is in terms of their way to handle problems, challenges, procedures, people, and so on and so forth. So what it gives me is a very quick inside look into a person to find out what their preferences are automatically. Do they automatically have an attention to detail, or they're more people person? And once I have that kind of an information, I have a lot more ability to gauge whether they will be fitting a certain position. Do you mind if I tell you a quick story why I wrote the book Stop Hiring Losers?
Yes.
Well, I was one of the losers. That's the reason I did that. Now you may say, Minesh, what do you mean by that? Well, very simply, my background is I was a computer programmer for 12 years. I was a geek, I did very well in my school, did my bachelor's in electrical engineering, master's in systems, except here was the problem. My behavior style is more influencing, which is I'm more outgoing, friendly with people than sitting at a cubicle in a cubicle situation in front of a desk, computer and stuff like that and programming all day long. I knew that was not a fit for me, but unfortunately because I was being paid, I didn't really have a way to get out of that. If the people who had hired me, just like Amir you are doing right now, and they had taken my D.I.S.C assessment at that time and they would have found out my strengths and weaknesses, they would not have put me in a position to be in front of a computer 8 hours a day trying to get my job done, because that doesn't fit me. Which is the reason after 12 years of struggling in that field of not really enjoying it as much, I found my niche, which is being a speaker, author, and a business coach. So I think you are doing a favor not only to yourself and your company, but you are doing a favor to the people you are hiring if you don't hire them because of their D.I.S.C assessment, because they may not be a good fit and eventually they would have left anyway. Do you see why I'm telling you that why this is so powerful a tool, that if employers used it consistently, they would have an awareness of who they are actually helping and who would be a good fit on their team.
So tell us a little bit about what the D, the I, the S, the C stand for, and how we can identify using those acronyms what person we're trying to communicate better with or potentially hire.
Correct. And I think just to take out the lingo from it, D.I.S.C, dominance, influencing, steadiness, and compliance. All it simply means is there are people who are more outgoing, which is the D and the I personality, and there are people a little bit more introverted, which is the S and C personality. Ds like to get the job done. Cs, which are more compliant type of people, want to focus on the details of the task, want to make sure the procedures are being done exactly. S are more loyal team players, steady, and I influencing life of the party. So those are the 4 different styles of people that we typically interact with. Now, do you know D.I.S.C, why it is so popular? No, one of the reasons is that what happens normally is all these other tests which are out there, the assessments out there, they're very confusing. And you need an expert, a psychologist to understand what these assessments really mean. D.I.S.C is one of those where you can watch a person, you can listen to a person and you can find out to quite a degree of what that behavior style is, which is easy to pick up. You can't take assessment for every client. You can't take assessment for every referral partner or any of those situations. But if you observe their behavior, you have an insight, which is the behavioral insight on the person, which is why DISC is so popular.
Got you. How can we leverage the DISC exam to be able to use it for marketing, be able to market our target audience?
Very great idea. Now, if you and I know who our target market is in terms of their behavior, for example, if you are talking to people at the higher end who like to make decisions quickly, and that is the type of a person that you would call a D. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
They're looking for bottom line information, bullet point, and saying this is the main advantage of buying this product. There are also those people who are also looking to be a little exclusive. Would you agree with me on that, how that works, right? Okay, and what ends up happening is if you are targeting the upper end of the market, they make decisions quickly, and you know their behavior style is likely to be a D, you are more going to be effective if you put this information in bottom line, bullet oriented fashion with the key benefit already spelled out for them. That is exactly why when you market in a specific manner using the behavioral insight, you're going to get much better results as well.
And how would you be able to market to an I?
I obviously is fun loving, so it has to be colorful, experiential oriented, talk about fun, people, party. You got their attention.
Okay. And what's the best way to market to an S?
Steadiness. These are the people who want to belong. These are the people who want to have a family. They don't want to be confrontational. They are loyal team players. So those people, you want to talk about all of those things that I just mentioned to you. Peace, calm, quiet, and helpful, family oriented.
So in the marketing, a lot of family pictures, peace, calm, quiet.
Correct.
And then the C, what tactics should we use to market to people that are classified as Cs?
Very good. Because they have attention to detail, obviously as one of their key criteria, they are looking for those details that you might not want to put towards an influencing or an I type of person. They are looking for, hey, is there backup data? Is there a system and a process that makes me aware that when I make a decision, I know, technically speaking, it will work. And that's what you're looking to provide to those people.
I see.
Much more information.
I see. So going back to recruiting.
Yes.
Okay. Hiring your first assistant, for
Correct.
example.
Yeah.
Would you suggest to first do a DISC profile on yourself to get a gauge of how you're wired?
Correct.
And then figure out what your weaknesses are and what the job description is, and use the DISC profile to fill in that weakness? Is that the best way to go about it?
Very good point. One of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people who are hiring their first person do is they end up hiring somebody like them. Now, Amir, would it really work if you hired somebody like you for an assistant?
No.
Not at all. What you want to find out is a complementary person. The person who is going to complement your strengths and weaknesses. So once you understand your profile, once you understand what you are wired as, that's when it comes down to saying, okay, now I can understand what kind of person would be a good fit for me, and that's where the job description of matching personalities has to be looked into. And as you said, that's exactly the way to do it. Make sure you understand your profile, make sure you have a clear job description, and on top of it, you're making sure the person's strengths and weaknesses match with yours.
How accurate is a DISC test?
Very good question. Now you'll be shocked, but this has been done worldwide, millions and millions of people. Now most people don't even know this, but this is, I think Wonder Woman is a show that most people are familiar with. Are you familiar with Wonder Woman?
Yes.
Okay, Wonder Woman was written by William Moulton Marsh, and he's the creator of the DISC report, by the way. So it has been around for close to 80-90 years now, and it has been validated in different studies. A lot of major corporations all over the world use these reports because they have found it to be very consistent in being able to predict the behavior of the person that they're going to be dealing with.
Wow. So would you recommend the DISC test is a prevailing tool to make an ultimate decision, or is it a highly encouraged supplemental tool to use in making the decision? It's not like when use a DISC test, you're hired, you're not hired. Should you supplement with some questions or other tools as well?
Exactly. See, using only one thing will never work. It's like looking at the person's photograph and saying they'll be great in a movie or they'll be great as a friend. It doesn't really work that way. What it does, it gives you another way of making sure that your decision is in the right order. For example, you need to know Their skill is there, right? If they don't have the skill, they're not going to be a good fit anyway, whether their DISC profile agrees or doesn't agree with your situation as well. So again, it's a great tool, but again, if you learn something about the person and they are the ones who are actually filling out the questionnaire, you are getting an insight into them which you normally won't get by just talking to them, reviewing their resume, talking to a couple of references, because that's not all in place. This is their own assessment of themselves coming through very loud and clear for you to read into their behavior style and come to a conclusion.
And would you recommend using the DISC test personally in our personal lives as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. How many of you heard opposites attract, right? I mean, you heard that, right? My wife and my style are not the same. So we have obviously communication challenges. If we don't have this profile with us and awareness of it, we will have bigger clashes than we normally would, right? And that's why knowing the profile of the person is so useful in personal relationships as well.
Wow. Well, Minesh, we're really excited you're here today. We're going to be doing a lot of team building events today with the group, and we're very, very excited. I recommend all of you, I've been working with Minesh now for some time. I don't know how I was hiring before using the DISC exam. Today I'm excited because it's the first milestone for us to use it internally as well. We're getting a massive poster board that we're going to chart out everyone's D, I, S, and C with a key or legend on the bottom to be able to know quickly if that person's a high C. I know as a high D how to be able to communicate with that person, and so will that person. What is the definition of communication that you always preach about?
Well, the goal of communication is to elicit a desired response from the other person. And if you don't focus on eliciting the desired response and you're not talking in their language, how likely are you going to be able to get what you're looking for, which is really the entire purpose of communication.
Yeah, very powerful.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Well guys, reach out to Minesh. We're going to have all his contact information available for you. I definitely recommend you fly him out or have him drive out if you're in one of the Midwestern states. But we're really happy you're here today, Minesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amir, for the time. I really appreciate your opportunity.
My pleasure. Thank you.